How to tell when someone is lying to you. Last week we dropped a video about body language, about how to know more about your body language and how to know more about other people's body language, because 55% of communication is done in body language. The rest, 7%, is done with the words that you choose, and 38 is the tone that you choose. So the words that you choose are really the least important part of all of this. But how can you read somebody else's actions to know whether they're lying or not? Do you wish that there were some tells, some clues to give you some insight so that you know what they're doing and what they're actually saying to you, so that you have an idea and can guide yourself so that you know where to take this relationship? Well, there are, and I'm going to run through a whole bunch of them here today. But first, I want you to check and see if you're a subscriber, and if not, become one. Become part of our family. Click subscribe, click the bell, so that you know when we drop videos like this to help you live a better life, and so that you are prepared when you're interacting with others. I'll be right back.
GILD Coaching. More success, less stress.
The best way to figure out if somebody is lying is to not look at any one specific behavior that person has. It is to look for small changes from the person's baseline, how they would act in a situation where you know beyond a shadow of a doubt they wouldn't be lying. So I've got some hints and a list of some things that can help clue you in to that baseline changing. Like, for example, if someone always makes eye contact with you and then all of a sudden they won't, that is one tell that means that they could possibly be lying. Another very common one is, are they breathing more shallowly? Most people make their breath more shallow when they're lying. That means that their breath isn't as deep. Maybe you'll see their shoulders and the top part of their chest moving more. Breathing quickly and breathing shallowly is a symptom of nervousness. And people often get nervous when they lie, especially if they're worried about getting caught in the lie or getting caught doing something that they shouldn't have been doing. So as you pay attention to the person's breathing, keep an eye on their posture as well. The person breathing quickly and shallowly will often lift their shoulders, and they might even change the tone of their voice just a little bit in an upward tonation. Okay, also look at the person. Now, if you watch these videos, you know Dr. Jane talks with her hands. Absolutely, I'm always talking with my hands. But if somebody doesn't talk with their hands a lot, and then all of a sudden they start talking with their hands, or if I'm in a business meeting, I'll usually have reading glasses with me, or maybe a pen or a pencil, and sometimes I'll fidget with them. That's normal for me. If it's not normal for someone who you know to be fidgety, that could reflect their discomfort. So psychologically, people don't like lying. So if a person normally doesn't fidget a lot when they speak and they suddenly shift into fidgeting, so if they're standing, that means shifting their weight from one foot to another, or moving their head from side to side, or they could be lying. On the other hand, if this person is like me and they fidget a lot, then what you need to watch out for is not fidgeting, because obviously you're with me. I even have these like little fidget balls and stuff like that. So when I'm in sessions, like I'm constantly doing stuff with my hands. It actually helps to quiet my mind and keep me focused on the person I'm listening to. So somebody like me, you want to look for us being stick still, no movement. If there's no movement, danger. So that's what I meant when I said pay attention to the baseline and then look for changes from the baseline. So in any nerve-wracking situation, such as telling a lie, a body can go into fight or flight mode, and fidgeting for people who are not fidgeters indicates a flight response, while staying absolutely still could be more of like a fight response for people who are fidgeters. So again, keep that baseline of a person's behavior in mind. What about fleeting micro expressions? So I know that I have a very expressive face. It's one of the reasons my aging lines are coming on so quickly. But brief micro expressions can display a liar's true emotions. A micro expression is created subconsciously when a person's facial expression shifts for just a fraction of a second. So I don't know if you've ever seen this, but when you've been speaking with someone who you didn't know very well, or even maybe somebody who you did know very well, if they just for a second have a different facial expression come across and then they correct it and they go back. Those micro expressions can't typically be controlled, but they do typically tell you what the person is really feeling. And this is a very, very valuable tool for you, especially if it doesn't match what the person is saying. Like if they're telling you that you can trust them and all of a sudden something just for a moment comes across and like a scowl or a lack of eye contact or a frown or a micro expression that indicates like guilt or regret, that could indicate lying. Darting eyes is a big deal. Nobody's going to trust somebody with shifty eyeballs, right? So that's a sign of discomfort. And so is blinking. The average person blinks at a rate of 5 times a minute. Now, I'm blinking faster than that right now. I got a bunch of lights that are pointed at me and I'm wearing contact lenses, so I know that I'm blinking faster than that. But like in normal conversation, when people don't have all these lights pointed at them and they're recording something, wearing contact lenses or whatever, usually people who are relaxed, who are just in normal conversation, they'll blink 5 to 7 times a minute. So if somebody's blinking really super, super fast, it usually means that they're nervous. I used to work in television, and another reporter who I worked with would blink really fast. He almost looked like he was batting his eyes whenever he would go live. And I pointed this out to him one time, and I wasn't being ugly. I was just saying, do you realize that you do this? This is actually a phenomenon that researchers refer to as cognitive load. When you are nervous, when you're telling the truth, you're fine. You know, when you're in a normal conversation situation, you're fine. But when your mind has so much to think about, the burden of telling a lie and keeping everything straight, or in this person's case, the burden of like going live on air and knowing that tens of thousands of people are watching you, then when somebody's doing something really taxing, then they have a cognitive load and they tend to change the rate of things that they're doing, such as blinking. So an increase in blinking could indicate that the person's lying or has stress or anxiety, which is obviously why that fellow reporter blinked a whole lot. He actually worked on that and later on thanked me for telling him, but he did not appreciate it in the moment. What about fake smiles? I see people take pictures and they're like, and they have these like fake smiles. A real smile affects the entire face and it matches what the person is saying. So a real smile also impacts the eyes. It impacts the nose. I know when I'm like really, really smiling, I have like, who called it? Somebody called it my bunny nose, kind of crinkles here. A real smile is going to affect the whole face. A fake smile does not. My eyes didn't move when I put that fake smile on. So think of it this way. If you see crow's feet on a person's face, they're probably telling the truth. They'll also be saying something that seems natural for the person to smile when they say it. So this can also be a sign, not necessarily that they're lying. It can also be a sign that they're just really nervous. You know, if somebody's just smiling without, impacting the rest of their face, a fake smile. So it might not be lying, but it might be. What about somebody who touches their face a lot? People engage in self-soothing techniques when they're lying, and somebody who touches their face a lot, again, do they usually touch their face a lot? Then, all right, don't really pay attention to this one. But have you never remarked on them touching their face a lot and all of a sudden they're touching their face? It's self-soothing. Self-soothing to be touching your face a lot. And so that could be an indication of lying. So can pursing lips. Liars tend to purse their lips more often than usual. This is one of the nonverbal signs that's actually backed by science, because people's mouths tend to get dry when they're lying. They have a tendency to purse their lips or lick their lips more. So if their lips look tight and pinched, they might be lying. We all know that like when somebody sweats a whole lot or flushes or loses all of their color, that's a sign that something's wrong. It can also be a sign of lying, all three of those. And Sometimes people shake their heads left and right when they lie. They don't realize that they're doing this. This one's a little bit less common, but even a slight shaking of the head, talking, and just doing like this, sometimes we might not really pick up on that, but it is an indication that they might be lying, and it is their subconscious mind sending a signal that this is not the truth. Watch it with politicians. Uh-oh. What about gestures? I mean, you see me here, I'm talking with my hands a lot. What about people who are gesturing after they finish talking and not while they're talking? If they add things after they're finished talking, pay attention to the person's hand movements and watch for the movements that come late, because they may be thinking about the lie so intently that they get the words out and then remember that they wanted to do something with their hands. So if a person says something to indicate that they were frustrated or exasperated, and then after that they go, why was that so delayed? Why was that so delayed? That could really be a sign of a lie. Speaking vaguely is another thing. A lot of times people are lying. They keep it vague so that they can keep it straight. If they repeat the same words, repeat themselves over and over and over again, speaking more formally than usual, changing the tone of their voice, using a vocal filler, just taking deep breaths and really overthinking things. Using negative emotion words is also a sign that somebody may be dishonest. And then this one's actually kind of interesting. Overstating their honesty. Like, you can trust me in this. And then they say it. You need to trust me. And then they say something. Or, well, if I'm being totally honest with you, well, if you're being totally honest, you shouldn't have to qualify it that you're being totally honest, right? So watch out for all of these things. And a final one, if somebody is using their words too quickly, like when you're having a conversation and they come back really, really, really fast with you, cut you off, and try to fill a lot of the space to get to the end of the conversation, that's also a sign that somebody might be lying. I certainly hope that people aren't lying to you. I hope that you live in a universe of truth tellers and people who only want to spread positivity, but sometimes it happens. Hopefully this video helped you to understand some cues, some tricks to learn when people aren't quite being themselves and aren't quite being authentic. If it did help you, give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and click that bell before you go. And I will see you next time that we drop a video like this to help you live a more truth-filled, happy life. See you soon.